Hello everyone and welcome back to Unit 18.1 Part 2. Please have a go at the remember task that's on the screen. I've blocked out question 3 as we didn't quite cover that in the last session. So please just have a go at questions 1, 2 and 4. Pause the video and then play when you're ready for me to go through the solutions with you. Okay, you've got to bear with my laptop. Okay, so let's go through the solutions. Question 1 asks you to work out the reciprocal of the numbers of fractions that they've given you, okay? So question 1a was 11, okay? And your reciprocal of 11 is 1 over 11, okay? If you knew that straight away, it's fine to go just straight into that. If you first said that 11 is equal to 11 ones, or 11 over 1, and then you said that was 1/11th, that's great, okay? 1/11th is the answer that you're looking for. B, we have 3/7, and it wants to know the reciprocal. Well, we just flip. It's nice and easy. It's a fraction. So the reciprocal is 7/3. Question C, we have 3.5. Now, I hope you remembered that before we can do anything with this mixed number, before we can find the reciprocal, we need to make it an improper fraction. I do that by doing 3 multiplied by 2, that's 6, and add 1, that's 7, okay? So 3.5 is the same as 7 over 2, is the same as 7/2, okay? So 3.5 is the same as 7/2, and now I can find the reciprocal just by flipping that fraction, and my reciprocal was 2/7. Part D, it's the same. You've been given a mixed number again. We've been given 2 and 4/5. So before we can find the reciprocal, we need to find what this is as an improper fraction. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14. So it's equivalent to 14/5. So now we can just flip 14/5 to find what the reciprocal would be, and that is 5/14, or 5 over 14. Okay? Question 2 was just checking your knowledge of multiplying fractions. The 2a, you've got 3 multiplied by 2.5. Okay? So before we're going to multiply, we're going to turn the 3 into a fraction, and we're going to change 2.5 into an improper fraction. So this is equal to then, 3 as a fraction is 3 over 1, isn't it? It's 3 ones. Multiplied by 2.5 as an improper fraction is 2 times 2, which is 4. Add 1, which is 5. So it's 5 over 2. Now I've done that, I'm just going to multiply my numerators together and then multiply my denominators together. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay? So it didn't say how to leave your answer, so you could have left your answer like that, or you could now convert this into a mixed number. And I do that by saying how many 2's go into 15? Well, 7 2's go into 15 because it gets us to 14 with 1 remaining. So my answer is 7.5. Okay? 2b, we have 2 and 2/3 multiplied by 6. So once again, I'm going to change this mixed number into an improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So 2 and 2/3 is equivalent to 8/3. And then I'm going to multiply that by 6 as a fraction, which is 6 over 1. Okay? 8 times 6 is what you need to do first, because we need to multiply our numerators. 8 times 6 is 48. And then over 3 times 1, which is over 3. Okay? And then, if you spotted, 48 divided by 3 is 16. So my answer there would be 16. Okay? Question C. We've got 3/7 multiplied by 4/5. Bit easier because they're both just normal fractions now, proper fractions. So 3 times 4 is 12. That's my numerator. 7 times 5 is 35. Hasn't asked you to simplify. You could have, but it hasn't asked you to. In fact, you couldn't have, so that would be your final answer there. D, 3/10 multiplied by 5/6. 3 times 5 is 15. 6 times 10 is 60. Okay, and you could have simplified that one. They're both divisible by 15, in fact. So 15 divided by 15 is 1. 60 divided by 15 is 4. Okay, so a quarter would have been your final answer. But if you only got to that point, that's great. Okay, still mark yourself right. Now, question 4 is a bit trickier. You had to remember that you needed to convert your decimals into fractions first. So, for 4a, it wants to know the reciprocal of 0.1. Okay, I hope that you know that 0.1 is equal to a tenth. If not, remember the place value columns that I showed you last time. So 0.1 is equal to a tenth. So if I find the reciprocal of that, it's 10 over 1, which is 10. So 10 would have been my reciprocal. For B, 0.5, you should know 0.5 is a half, so that's nice and easy. The reciprocal of a half is 2 over 1, which is just 2. Part C, 0.8. If you used your place value in columns, or if you just knew, is 8/10. So the reciprocal of 8/10 is 10 over 8. Okay? You could simplify if you wanted to 5 over 4. But that's fine like that. Okay, so part D, 2.5. Okay, you could have first said, well, 2.5 is 2.5. And 2.5, if I transfer it from a mixed number to an improper fraction, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. It's 5 over 2. Then I flip it to find my reciprocal, is 2/5. So 2/5 is your final answer there. Okay, well done if you did that. That's brilliant. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at today then is dividing fractions. So last lesson we looked at multiplying fractions, and we know with multiplying fractions we just multiply the numerators together and then the denominators together. Okay, with dividing fractions it's slightly different, but it's just a small process you have to remember, and then it is the same as multiplying fractions. Okay, so I've been asked to do 3/4 divided by 2/7. And my rule is keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. So I keep my first fraction exactly the same. So that is 3/4. I change my division sign to a multiplication sign. And I flip my last fraction. So I find the reciprocal of my last fraction. So just flip my last fraction, which is 7 over 2. Once I've done that, multiply as normal. Okay? 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 2 is 8. And that's my final answer. Okay? Pause the video please, have a go at your turn, and then play when you're ready for the solution. Okay, so let's have a look at your turn then. So your turn asked you to do 3/4 divided by 4/7 this time. Okay, rule, keep your first fraction, change your division to a multiplication, and flip your last fraction to its reciprocal, so 7 over 4. Okay? Then multiply as normal. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 4 is 16. And that was your final answer there. So well done if you got that again. So on the screen now is a chance for you to have a go at that. So please pause the video and play when you're ready to go through the solutions. Please make sure you look at the questions carefully. Remember, consider when you've got some whole numbers in there, like on question 10, remember to consider what is 4 as a fraction. Okay? So pause and play when you're ready for the solutions. Okay, I'm only going to go through 1 or 2 with you, and then I'm going to put the answers on the screen for you to mark yourself, okay? Because there's not too many that we really need to practice here. Okay, so I'll do question 1. We had 2/3 divided by 4/5. Keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, flip your last fraction to its reciprocal. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 4 is 12. 10/12 is your answer. You could have simplified to 5/6, okay? So that's your answer there. And then let's have a go with one that's got an integer, a whole number in there. So let's go for question 10. So question 10, you need to do a half divided by 4. Okay? And straight away I'm going to say, well, that's a half divided by 4/1. Okay? You don't have to do that step, but it helps for when you're then flipping your last bit to find the reciprocal, okay? So now keep, change, flip. Now multiply as normal. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. And that's your final answer there. Okay, I'm going to put the rest of the answers up on the screen. Take a minute to mark, and then we'll resume with the rest of the lesson. Okay, if you didn't simplify fully, don't worry. As long as you got to the part that was unsimplified, that's fine. I'm just checking your process right now. Okay, moving on. We're now looking, as we did with multiplication of fractions, we're looking at dividing fractions with mixed numbers in there, okay? So we've got, as you can see in my worked example, we've got a mixed number divided by a fraction. The process is the same. We can't do any calculations with mixed numbers without transferring them to improper first, okay? So the first thing I need to do with my turn, so I've got 1 1/3 divided by 2/5. This time I have an extra step because I've got a mixed number in there. And the extra step comes first, and that's to transfer this from a mixed number to an improper fraction. So this is equal to 1 times 3 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So 4/3 divided by 2/5. Now that I have no mixed numbers in my calculation, I'm going to just do it as normal. So keep my first fraction the same. So I'm going to keep my 4/3, change my division to multiplication, and flip my last fraction to its reciprocal. So flip it to 5/2. Now that I've done that, multiply as normal. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 2 is 6. 20/6 is my answer, 26. Okay, I can simplify that to 10/3. And I could also, if I wanted to, convert that, or if it asked me to, convert this improper fraction, and I know it's improper because my numerator is bigger than my denominator, I could also convert that to a mixed number. And I do that by saying how many 3's go into 10? Well, 3 do, with 1 remaining. The 3 becomes my integer, the remainder becomes my new numerator, okay? And then my denominator stays the same. So either of those answers at the moment would be fine because it hasn't specified how they want you to leave your answer. Okay, so please pause the video, have a go at your turn, and then play when you're ready to go through the solution. Okay, so your turn. We've actually been given the same mixed number. So I'm going to just go through the steps again, even though I already know it's 4/3 as an improper fraction. Okay, so my first step is convert any mixed numbers to improper fractions. So I need to convert 1 1/3 to an improper fraction. 1 multiplied by 3 is 3, add 1 is 4. So it's 4/3 divided by 4/5. Okay, now I've got rid of my improper fraction, my mixed number, sorry. I'm going to deal with it as a normal division. Keep my first fraction, change my division to a multiplication, and flip my last fraction to its reciprocal. My final step, multiply my numerators together, then multiply my denominators together. 4 times 5 is 20, 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, as it hasn't specified, you could leave it like that. I'm just going to show you how to simplify it as well if you did that. They're both divisible by 2 because they're both even, so that's going to give me 10/6. They're still both even because they were actually divisible by 4. So it's 5/3. Now I've done that, I can also change this to a mixed number. How many 3's go into 5? Well, 1 with 2 remaining. So it's 1 2/3. Okay? Please pause then and have a go at your try activity that's on the screen and play when you're ready to go through the solutions. Remember, you need to convert your mixed numbers to improper fractions first. Okay, as it's repetitive practice, they're all the same sorts of things that you need to be doing, but just different numbers. I'm only going to go through 1 or 2 again. So if I start with the first one, the first question that you had, you needed to do 1 3/4 divided by 1/8. First step, convert my mixed number to an improper fraction. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So that's equal to 7/4 or 7/4 divided by 1/8. Okay, now I'm going to apply my rules. Keep the first one, change my division to multiplication, and flip my last one. Okay, 7 times 8, now multiplying as normal, so multiply my numerators. 7 times 8 is 56. 4 times 1 is 4. So now, hopefully, without simplifying, you could have spotted that 56 divided by 4 is 14. So my answer would have been 14 there. If you didn't, then you could have started to simplify and you would have then found that you would have got to 14. Okay? The next one I'll do the very last question there as well then. So how many have we got? So that would have been question 8. So 5 2/3 divided by 2/3. First thing I'm going to do, convert my mixed number to an improper fraction. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. 17/3 divided by 2/3 is what I'm dealing with. Then apply my rules. Keep my first fraction, change my sign, flip my last fraction to its reciprocal. Now I can just multiply as normal, so I'm multiplying my numerators together. So 17 multiplied by 3 is 51. And 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. Okay? If I put the answers on the screen for you, you can mark the rest of your answers. And sorry, I didn't finish with this one. If you then converted it, you would have found that would come to 8 3/6, which is the same as 8 1/2. Okay? So check the rest of your answers, please. Okay, so we've actually already gone through that, haven't we? We've done that. So won't go. Okay, I will actually. I will give you a quick reminder on how to do that, as you've got some different styles of questions to answer after this. Okay, so I'll quickly go through that just as a recap. But it's exactly the same as what we've just done with division, except for we're just multiplying, so we don't need to apply the rule of keep, change, flip. All we have to do is convert from mixed to improper first. So we've got 1 1/3 multiplied by 2/5. So 1 1/3, first we need to convert it to improper. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So we've got 4 1/3 multiplied by 2/5. Multiply our numerators together. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times, multiply our denominators together. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so 8/15. Don't worry about your go. Okay? And that's the same, that's division. I think they were just recaps if we didn't get through it, but we have, so they're fine. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this on a bigger screen. You've got some questions from the textbook to practice, please. So you start off there on question 5, you're multiplying fractions and you've got mixed numbers there. So remember, we must convert them to improper first. And then question 6 and 7 are just more of the same, they're just more question practice, okay? So please pause the video and play when you're ready to go through the solution. Okay, again, as these questions are just a lot of question practice, so it's just different numbers but the same thing that we're repeating, I'm going to go through 2 from each question, okay, just to check that you've got that, and I'll put the rest of the answers on the screen for you. So first we'll do question 5a. You've been given 2 3/5 multiplied by 3/7. Okay, and they've given you some blanks to fill in there to help you through the process. Okay, so to remind you that you had to convert to an improper fraction first. So 2 3/5 as an improper fraction is 2 times 5, which is 10, plus 3, 13/5. Okay, and then we're doing 13/5 multiplied by 3/7. So then we just apply our rules as normal now with multiplying. So multiply numerators, 13 times 3 is 39. And then 5 times 7 is 35. Okay? The next one, I'll do part B. We've got 3 1/5 multiplied by 2/3. 3 1/5, we need to convert to improper first. So 3 times 5 is 15, add 1 is 16. So it's 16/5 multiplied by 2/3. Multiply our numerators together. 16 times 2 is 32. Multiply our denominators together. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, I'm not converting them. You know how to do that, so you could have done that if you needed to or if it asked. Okay. Question 6. Let's do question 6a. We've got 2 1/7 multiplied by 1/10. 2 1/7 needs to be improper, so 2 times 7 is 14. Add 1 is 15, so it's 15/7 multiplied by 1/10. 15 multiplied by 1 is 15. 7 multiplied by 10 is 70. Okay, again, I'm not simplifying them, but that could be simplified there. Okay, and then moving on to 6, let's do 6b. 10 11ths multiplied by 1 2/5. 10 11ths can stay the same, but 1 2/5 needs to be converted. So 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is 7, so it's the same as 7/5. 10 times 7 is 70. 11 times 5 is 55. Again, you can simplify it, but I'm not going to do that now. So 7, question 7a. Now we've got two mixed numbers that we're multiplying, so it's still the same, but we have two mixed numbers. So 1 3/5 multiplied by 2 3/5. Okay, so convert to mixed numbers first, improper fractions, first. 1 times 5 is 5 plus 3 is 8. So you have 8/5 multiplied by 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3 is 13. So multiplied by 13/5 there. Now we're just going to multiply as normal. So multiply our numerators together. 8 times 13 is 104. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, let's do part B. We've got 2 2/3 multiplied by 1 2/3. Convert to improper fractions first. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 2 is 8. We've got 8/3 multiplied by 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2 is 5 multiplied by 5/3. 8 5s are 40. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, and now I'm going to put the rest of the answers on the screen for you. Okay, you can see with some of them they have converted back to mixed numbers for their answers, and they've simplified where they could as well. Okay, so you could have done that. I didn't, but you could have done that. Okay. More questions to practice then, please. This time you're practicing your division. Question 10, you can use a calculator. If you need to, okay? So pause the video and press play when you're ready to go through the solutions, please. Okay, so question 8. Question 8, again, as with the ones before, I'm only going to go through 2 from each question because they're simple enough. If you didn't have a calculator to do question 10, don't worry about that. We won't focus too much on that now. Okay, so question 8a we'll do first. We've got 1 3/5 divided by a half. First step, convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. We've got 1 times 5, which is 5, plus 3 is 8. So 8/5 divided by a half. Now apply the rules that we know. Keep the first fraction, change your division to multiplication, and flip your last fraction to its reciprocal. Then you can apply your multiplication rules as normal. 8 times 2 is 16. 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, and I'm going to change this one now into a mixed number. How many 5s go into 16? Well, 5 times 15, that's 3, with 1 remaining. So it's 3 1/5. Okay, I'm going to do another one for part B. We've got 1 8 divided by 2/3. Get rid of my mixed numbers first. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So it's 9/8 divided by 2/3. Then apply my rules. Keep my first fraction, change my sign, and flip my last fraction to its reciprocal. Now multiply as normal. Multiply my numerators. 9 times 3 is 27. 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, convert this to a mixed number. How many 16s go into 27? Well, it's 1. 1 16 will go into 27. And then how many are remaining? 11. So it's 11 16ths. 1 and 11 16. Okay, question 9, part A. Okay, this time, like the question before with multiplication, you've got 2 mixed numbers that you need to convert before you can get going. So you've got 1 1/3 divided by 2 3/5. The 1 1/3 as a mixed number, as an improper fraction, sorry, is 1 times 3, which is 3, plus 1, which is 4. So 4/3 divided by 2 times 5, which is 10, plus 3, which is 13 fifths. Now apply your rules. Keep your first fraction, change your sign, flip your last fraction. Now multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 13 is 39. Okay, 9b. 2 1/2 divided by 2 1/4. First step, get rid of my mixed numbers. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. That's 5/2 divided by 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Divided by 9/4. Okay? Apply your rules, keep your first one, change your sign, flip your last one. Now multiply as normal. Multiply my numerators together. 5 times 4 is 20. Multiply my denominators together. 2 times 9 is 18. Okay, you can simplify or you can convert into a mixed number here. So 18 goes into 20 once, with 2 remaining. That's 1 and 1/9. Okay, I'm not going to go through question 10 because it's a calculator question. Hopefully you could do those okay. And if you didn't have a calculator, don't worry too much about those, okay? And the rest of the answers are there on the screen. I'll just make that bigger for you. Please mark and then play when you're ready to go through the rest, when you're ready to continue. Okay, so here's some more for you to go through, please. So please pause the video. You find in the pairs of the first one, it says one of these cards doesn't have a pair. Which one is it? You can use a calculator. Okay. Please don't Please don't do part B. Okay, the solution's there on the screen for you. I'm not going to go through question 11 as there's lots of little parts to do and you just needed to find which ones didn't have a pair, so which ones didn't give you the same answer, and hopefully for that you got 24 and 4/9. Because I am going to go through question 12 and 13 with you, okay? Okay, so for question 12, it says, a roll of ribbon is cut into pieces measuring 1 1/4 inches. How many whole pieces can be cut from 32.5 inch rolls? Okay, so we need to see how many of those 1 1/4 inches go into 32.5 inch rolls. So we're doing 32, this is question 12, we're doing 32.5 divided by 1 1/4. Okay, so you just have to extract that information and turn it into a calculation. First step, convert, get rid of our mixed numbers and make them improper fractions. 32 multiplied by 2 is 64, add 1 is 65. So that's the same as 65/2 divided by 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5, 5/4. Then apply your rule when you're dividing, keep your first fraction, change your sign, and then flip to find the reciprocal of your last fraction. Okay, so we've got 65/2 multiplied by 4/5. Now we've done that, we're going to multiply as normal, so multiply our numerators together. 65 times 4 comes out at 260. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay? They both end in 0 there, so straight away I can see they're both divisible by 10. That gives me 26 over 1, which is 26. And that's my final answer. Question 13. We have a tile measured 1.5 inches by 2.25 inches. What is the area of the tile? Okay, so if you imagine a tile, say that's our tile, we've got 1.5 inches by 2.25 inches. And they want to know the area. When we find the area of a rectangle, we just need to multiply the two side lengths together. So what we should have been doing is 2.25 multiplied by 1.5, or the other way around. If you wrote it the other way around, that's absolutely fine. First step, convert to improper fractions. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. That's 9/4 multiplied by 1 times 2, which is 2, plus 1, which is 3. So 3/2, 3 over 2. Multiply as normal. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 2 is 8. Now I'm going to convert that into a mixed number. How many 8s go into 27? Well, 8, 16, 24, so that's 3. And then from 24 to 27, there's 3 with 3 remaining. Okay, so my answer is 3 3/8, and as it said to you in the hint, that's square inches. Okay? And that's your final answer there. So well done with that one. Okay, you've got the next two questions on the screen. Please pause and play when you're ready to go through the solutions. Okay, I've put the answers on the screen there so that you can have a little check through. And then we're going to work out what we needed to do to get those solutions. So, question 14 says each of these calculations is missing a single digit. Work out the missing digits, okay? So 14a, we've got 2 1/5 multiplied by 1 and a certain number of thirds is going to give us 8/15. Okay? So, to start me off, I know that if I was converting this back to an improper fraction, I'd say, well, 1 times 3 is 3, and then I would add whatever that was there. Okay? And we know that we want it to be 4 because 2 times whatever the blank was is going to give us 8. So we know that when it was converted to an improper fraction, this number here would be 4. Okay, so what do I have to add to my 1 times 3, which was 3, to get 4 here? Well, I add 1. So my blank there was 1. Okay, I'm only going to do part B as well, and then you can go through the others from the answers there. So part B, we've got a blank integer and a fifth, so something and a fifth, multiplied by 2.5 is going to give me 8. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the mixed number that I have into an improper fraction first, so it's going to make it easier for me to work out. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so that's 5 over 2 equals 8. This one's got a 5 and a 1 there, and I need to work out my blank. But actually, I'm not sure. It's not as easy as the other one to get back to that, is it? So as the hint says, use the inverse operation. So the inverse operation to multiplication is division. So what I'm going to do instead is 8 divided by 5.5, or 5 halves, not 5.5, sorry, so divided by 5 over 2 to work out what this number should be. So 8, which I know is 8 over 1, divided by 5 over 2, and that is going to give me this answer here. So I know I keep, I change, I flip, and then I say 8 times 2 is 16, 1 times 5 is 5, so my answer is 16 fifths. Okay, I need to convert that to a mixed number so I can find that missing number there. 5 goes into 16 3 times with 1 remaining. So my answer there was 3 and a fifth. So here I should have 3. So you had to do the inverse. You had to divide instead this time, okay? Okay, and the next one you just had to play about with the different numbers you were given until you could find your largest solution, and that should have been 6 2/3 multiplied by 5 4/5. Okay, last 2 questions please. Please use the hint, read the questions carefully, and then play when you're ready to go through the solutions. Okay, so the question says, oh, I'm drawing all over it again. The question says, a necklace is made up of beads which are 1 1/4 inches long. Okay, so I've got beads that are 1 1/4 inches long. Each bead costs 30p and the thread costs £2.30. The necklace is 21 1/4 inches long. What is the cost of making the necklace? Okay, so we know the cost of the thread. We just need to know how many beads that we need for that necklace. Okay, so with the necklace length is 21 1/4 inches long. We need to divide that by the length of our beads, which is 1 1/4, and that will tell us how many beads we're going to need. Okay, so first we're going to convert this to improper fractions in order to be able to do this properly. Okay, in order to be able to divide them properly. So 21 multiplied by 4 is 84, plus 1 is 85. That's 85 over 4, divided by 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 5 over 4. Okay, keep, change, flip. 85 multiplied by 4 is 340, divided by 4 times 5, which is 20. So 340 over 20, okay? They're both divisible by 10, as you can see, so that's 34 over 2. And 34 divided by 2 is 17. So we need 17 beads. I just realised I don't have the answers up there for you as well. So we need 17 beads, and each bead, they say, costs 30p. So 17 times 0.3, which is the same as 30p, would give you £5.10. Now we need to add the cost of the string, of the thread, which was £2.30. When we add £2.30, we get £7.40 as our answer. In question 17, what we needed to do, it says there are 1 3/4 of pints in a litre and 8 pints in a gallon. How many litres are there in a gallon? So what we need to do is we need to divide 8 by 1 3/4 to see how many litres there are in a gallon. Okay, so 8 we know is 8 over 1 as a fraction, divided by 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7 over 4. Okay, apply our rules. Keep, change, flip. 8 times 4 is 32. 1 times 7 is 7. Convert this to a mixed number. How many 7s go into 32? that will be 4, because that gets us to 28 with 4 remaining. So it's 4 and 4/7 litres. Okay, and that's your final answer. So well done. That was quite a long session, but well done if you got through that okay. With the problem solving questions, it's just extracting the information from the question correctly, okay?